Today we're making chocolate brownie cookies because everyone needs a great chocolate cookie recipe in their repertoire. So let's get started. So here are all the ingredients that we need for our chocolate brownie cookies. What we have here is 1 pound of melted semi-sweet chocolate along with 4 tablespoons of butter. We have 12 ounces of chocolate chips. We have half a cup of all-purpose flour, a teaspoonful of vanilla, a little bit of salt, and here we have 1.5 cups of sugar, but I'm using infused sugar that I made with some vanilla beans and let it sit for a while, which this will help give it an extra little oomph of flavor. And then we also need 4 eggs. So the first thing we need to do to get ourselves started is actually mix the eggs into the sugar. And we're going to do this for about 4 to 5 minutes because we want this sugar egg mixture to get really nice and fluffy and light in color. So I'm just using a hand mixer to do this. You could use a stand mixer. You actually could also just do it by hand, but hey, it's much easier to use the equipment. So it's been about 4 minutes since we've been mixing this up, and as you can see, it's pretty light and creamy in color. You can actually, if you were here, you'd be able to see little brown flecks from the vanilla infused sugar, which I think is pretty cool. So to this mixture now, we're adding 1/4 teaspoon of salt and a little bit more vanilla, so 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So let's get that mixed in. And this just, you don't have to do this for any length of time, really just enough to get it nicely incorporated into your mixture. Voila. And I'm just gonna move our mixer because now we're going all just to finish off by hand. So let's get our mixer out of the way. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add our melted chocolate and butter mixture. All you need to do is just spoon your wonderful, delicious, velvety chocolate and butter into the batter. Get all that nice goodness in. Let's get the bowl out of the way. And now we are just going to fold. And you know, whenever you fold something, you're just moving your bowl at the same time that you're just putting your spatula in or your spoon down the middle, around the side, down the middle, around the side. And I don't know, it might just be me, but I just love watching how it goes from this marbly effect to getting it all like totally incorporated in so that it's one consistent color. I mean, it's beautiful. It smells wonderful. I wish you could smell it. So let's just get that fully incorporated here. A few more turns, a few more spins. There we go. That looks good. And to this now, we're going to add our flour. And so here we have 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour, and there's also a teaspoon of baking powder in here. We want to just sift that into our chocolate mixture. So here we go. We're just sifting it so that it's all nice and fluffy. And again, here we go. We fold some more. So we're going to continue our folding method, and we're gonna get all of our flour nicely mixed into our chocolate. But honestly, how easy is this to just do by hand? It's really pretty quick. The cookies are delicious. This is just a great recipe, which, by the way, I found online, and this is my adaptation of an original recipe from Food and Wine. So here we go. We have our flour nicely mixed in, and to this now we are adding 12 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate chips. Again, more chocolate. How bad can that be? And the same thing, we're just going to really fold the chocolate chips in so that every single cookie has not only the melted chocolate deliciousness, but also some chips to add us extra chocolate and a nice gooey texture. Okay, now this is gonna need to be chilled for about an hour. I like to put it in the freezer to get it nice and firm so we can get ready to scoop it out. So now that we have our mixture totally incorporated, we are placing it into our shallow pan. Again, you can use any pan that you like. You don't have to use the small sheet pan, but for me, I just find that it's easier to get the batter cooled as well as then to actually scoop the cookies once these go into the freezer. So as you put it into the pan, all you want to do is smooth it out. You want to try and get it as even as possible because that'll just make it easier for you once you start to scoop these out. What you're doing is by putting it in the freezer for 30 minutes, maybe an hour, is really to get the butter kind of firm, get the chocolate all nice and firm, so that when you do scoop, your cookies will keep their shape nicely. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be like totally spread, but I just find that the smoother and the more spread out I can get it, the easier my life is going to be as I'm then scooping it out. So here we have our cookie dough all spread out. We're going to cover it up. We're going to put it in the freezer. And once it's been in the freezer for its allotted time, it'll look something like this. And you can see that it's now nice and firm, and it's going to be really easy for us to scoop it out into our actual cookie bites. Now I used a 1 tablespoon scoop because I like my cookies on the small side. That way I can pop a bunch of them in my mouth and not feel quite as guilty as if I'm eating one great big cookie. But you certainly can do a larger scoop. You can use an actual tablespoon or a teaspoon, whatever you like, and just kind of drop them on and mold them. I do like the scoop because it makes them so nice and uniform. And just to get to that point, again, you're just going to scrape the dough. You get it nice and incorporated, and then you would just place it on your cookie sheet and you're ready to go. Now, I like to keep my cookies though kind of separated by about 2 inches because these aren't going to expand a lot, but enough, and you don't want your cookies to kind of all be touching. So leave 2 inches or so apart. Put them in a 350-degree oven for no more than 10 minutes because you want the ooey gooiness on the center and the nice crispy edges on the outside. So now these cookies have been in the oven for 10 minutes. This is how they look coming out of the oven. They smell wonderful. They taste wonderful. I really do hope that you guys try them. So here we have our finished product. Look at how deliciously ooey and gooey they are on the inside. And when we give them a taste, delicious chocolatey flavor with a little bit of crispiness on the edge. Try these cookies today. You'll really love them.